everybody. Welcome to Merely Surviving to Successful Thriving with Jen and Dee. We wanted to say hello, good morning. It's a Thursday morning that Friday morning that we're recording this. Um, and today we're going to be talking about something that probably make you laugh a little bit. Makes me laugh. At pet peeves, like things that get on your last nerve. You don't have any of those. I mean, no one has those, right? We all have them. So, um, there's a lot of things that get on our nerves, and I just wanted to tell you that you can hear us anywhere you listen to your podcasts or music on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and you can also see us on YouTube, and we just post this video out onto Facebook. So if you want a little empowerment and you want to feel a little lifted up for the day, come and listen to us. That's really what our whole purpose is. It's to lift ourselves up and others all along in the process. Women, men alike, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you can't move forward in life, or if you feel you just need a little extra support, which we all do, and which I found in my life that it's very, very important to have like a foundation of support that I can rely on a daily basis. And that's what we're here for. So we love you, and we're going to talk about pet peeves today. Jennifer, I'm just going to put it out to you, and it's like if you can just give me one, because I can't really think of any. I'm trying to do an impromptu. Don't know. I have many, but you start, and then maybe it'll get my memory going.
Ugh, I used to have so many, but like taking myself out of the situation that I was living in, I eliminated a lot of them because now it's just me and my daughter. But like, I always laugh too because I said my dream in life would be for me to have my own bathroom. So I now have my own bathroom that I can keep clean the way I want. I remember times waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and sitting down and landing inside the toilet bowl because the seat was left up. Ugh.
Mm.
That drives me crazy. And I would say something for years. That and the toothpaste being a mess. Just all different things that, like, I like things a certain way. That used to drive me crazy. I don't have that anymore. And it's funny too, like we moved into this place. Paige had this big room with a walk-in closet, bathroom in her room, and she said she feels safer in a smaller space. And I guess it's hard for her to keep that room clean too. So this has been working out great for us. At first I was like, why would you want to move into a smaller room? You have a beautiful room with all these big windows, but she doesn't want it. So I'm like, who is the one that wanted her to have that room? Like me pushing my will on her? What for? So now she moved into the smaller room. I have a big room for when my guests come and visit now. And she's able to maintain the room better, keep it clean, neat. She feels safer in there. So I noticed too, like letting some things go, that eliminated a pet peeve because I used to get annoyed at how she was keeping that room. It was too big for her to manage. So now we're like both happy.
Mm.
And I noticed too, like I'm starting to get used to it here. People are very relaxed and laid back. So I'm sitting at the light for the green arrow. And for some reason, my green arrow didn't change. Like it skipped one. And I'm watching all these people. Nobody's even getting annoyed. Nobody, I would, if I was at the front of the line, I would have said, I'm going through the red light when there's no cars coming because they skipped my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be at a red light as soon as it turns green. I was used to in New Jersey. If I didn't like gun it as soon as it turns green, people would be laying on the horn. And it's not like that here. Everybody's like relaxed. And I said, that just goes with the whole vibe here. I said to myself, I was looking around too, like, why am I in a rush to get anywhere? I don't really have anywhere that I need to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
there's
taking it.
signs up.
Yeah, I'm like 2 seconds, 2 minutes. I get someplace a little bit 2 minutes later,
Right.
and I look around. I said I could see the birds. I see the palm trees. beautiful
Mm-hmm.
water. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Yeah.
such a relaxed way of living. So I said, on top of like not getting aggravated when I'm driving, it's more
Yeah.
peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I see nature, and I think a lot of my life was rushing and running around like a chicken without a head to get to this, to get to that. And what happened? What did I do that for all those years? And what did it get me? It got me absolutely nothing. My whole life is like a do-over right now. So
Mm-hmm.
everything that I did then, aside from learning some like good lessons in my life of what's not acceptable and what to get away from, what to run far away from, I got that now.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, what was it all for?
Yeah.
I take a
That's the
step
thing.
back. I could appreciate my life today, and I have a beautiful place here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met
Mm-hmm.
some beautiful people. The people are nice, very welcoming. My new church, I said, I was in the hospital last Saturday. I missed church on Sunday. So now, I've only been here a couple months. My lady friend from church texts me right after church, like, is everything okay? Because I wasn't there. You know?
Wow.
That never happened to me back home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
done over there. So
Yeah.
happy over here.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what? Can you think of any?
Well, I just want to reiterate on what you were saying about driving and being behind schedule, and then something happened. Like there's a sign that's up now, I think on Route 1, like here in New Jersey. I mean, it's very, very busy, very, very cutthroat, very, very, everybody's got to get somewhere fast. But it says something, and it's true, and it says, leave earlier.
Yeah.
Like literally, the sign just says, leave earlier. And I'm like, that's so true. Like we wouldn't, like even in New Jersey, I wouldn't be beeping at anybody if I left on time, if I took that extra time for myself. And I also love looking up at the trees when it's spring and there's actually green on them and you're not looking
Yeah.
at dead branches, dead bare branches. So that's when I'm in that light at that light, I'm like, thank God, thank goodness for the contrast. I sometimes I have to do this when I'm in that funk, like thank God for the contrast of the green trees and the blue skies up against each other, and while I was sitting at that light, and it was good, but it just said on there, leave earlier, and it's like, but that's the thing, is like there's so many things us as people can do for ourselves that make less anxiety, and there's really nothing to fear anyway. Like I try to definitely leave earlier. I'm never late, but I can be the miss on timer, just on timer, and I don't like that because there was a um there was a teacher that my daughters had. He was their band director for their high school. And there's one thing that he said to them, and that rung so true in my head. He said, early is on time is late, and
Oh
late
yeah.
is unacceptable. Like, and every time that I get myself into that, I only got 1 minute left to get to work, and I know I can do it. Yeah, it's like this adrenaline rush. I'm like, yeah, I could do this. Did you ever see that movie Mom? That show Mom? Oh my God, they
Oh,
talk
so
about
funny.
having like, you know, one needle point past the E in their gas, and they're like, I know I can get to Toronto with this. You know what I mean? It's just so funny. But I guess like pet peeves for me would be, there's so many different ones. There's money pet peeves, there's texting pet peeves, there's
Uh huh.
romantic relationship pet peeves. Oh, there's so many. I couldn't even go. I wouldn't even know. But I'm gonna just go with this. I'm gonna just go with tipping. Let's just go with tipping. I'll talk about what we talked about. This really got my goat. Like okay, so we're in hairdressing and all that. I got, it was a $25 haircut. I got The lady gave me a 50. She was so ecstatic. You are the best. I can't wait to come and see you again. What's your name? Put your name on this card. I'm like, oh, she goes, you got it this, you got it like that. And nobody's ever done that for me. Oh, great. Have a nice day. So she gives me a 50, and then I give her a 20 and a 5 back. She puts the 20 and the 5 into her purse and goes and digs for $2 and gives me $2. I was like,
I would have taken my card back and put down, cross my name out, and put down, kiss my
my
ass.
name is
Kiss my
Hilda.
ass.
My name is Hilda, and I'm really only a floater here. I don't usually work here during the, like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, so that's why it's just really, really beneficial. Any hairdressers out there that do it more on your own, you know, believe in yourself enough to do it on your own. Get those people, make your private clients happy, and then you'll have like a nice fluid little business going. Um,
Without a doubt.
but the other thing too is, I guess, a big pet peeve is like lack of communication. Like if somebody doesn't really just say what they really mean
Hmm.
instead of dancing around it. If there's something that needs to be addressed, and you just go around it, and then it leaves the other person confused. And I'm going to say that because I've done it. That's why it's a pet peeve. Like you spot it, you got it, right?
Yeah.
So I used to do that because I was afraid of the reaction of the other person. You know, so I'll say exactly what's on my mind, but in a nice way. So if somebody's doing something, I would say, I like the other day, I happened to say something to somebody, and I said, "That's really none of my business if you do that." And I was like, "Whoa, where?" And I actually had to. I was surprised. I was like, "Did that just come out of my mouth?" That did come out of my mouth. Usually, I would be like, "Oh, I don't know. You could do it." It was always people pleasing and approval seeking, and we don't need to do that today. Like,
Nope.
there's no room for it. There's no room for people pleasing and approval seeking. I mean, people pleasing is only good if you're it for an employer. Like you kind of have to perform, but not on an emotional level enough to people. Like no one needs to like me
Yeah.
anymore. Like you can like me or you cannot like me. That's up to you. But I don't really depend on that anymore like I used to. So I'm going to go with that, and then I'll let you talk. But I'm just going to walk away for a second because I have that heater thing that comes on
Oh
and it's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
get really bad. I'll be back in just 3 seconds. So just
Okay.
talk.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking myself about, I was blessed with the chance to have a complete reset for my life. And, I know not everybody gets a chance like this. It was very scary at first, but with this, I've learned so much. And, all the lessons that I've learned is helping me guide my way through my new life. Even who I'm going to let into my life, what kind of relationships I'm going to have. So I'm very careful. I have a couple really close friends from my church. I have some really nice neighbors here, but I feel like leaving behind everything that I left behind and getting to back to loving myself and taking care of myself gives me the ability to move forward as a strong, independent woman. And I don't have to, it's up to me to set boundaries and decide who I'm going to let into my life, what kind of behaviors I'm going to accept. So it's like a complete restart for me. Not have to like change everything, blank slate. And I'm super careful about it. And I appreciate every minute of every day now. I was laughing because my mom always, we talk like 3 times a day, and then we'll text each other in the morning, and she'll say, "Have a good day." And yesterday I wrote to her, I was like, a good day for me in Florida, a bad day in Florida is like the best day ever compared to what I was going through where I was. I was like, the sun is shining, the people are nice, I feel safe, my daughter feels safe, we're happy and we're peaceful. I said, God put us right where we need to be. And she was like, that makes me so happy. Like that's so true. I take her out to just to go watch the sunset. It's beautiful. It's different every night. You know, I I have a new appreciation for life. I'm just so grateful today. Or I was living in such a shit show for
Mm,
so many years
yeah.
with no hope. I used to sometimes pray at night just to die
Mm,
because I would be too chicken to kill myself and I was that miserable. And
mm,
I saw no way out.
mm,
And thank God he got me through that and put me over here and got me a better place than I ever thought imaginable.
mm.
It's like miracle after miracle. I just feel like everything that I went through led me up to this. And we're just peaceful today. Such blessings. What do you think?
It's, I feel like the same way. It's just knowing that all of our trials and tribulations that we go through, like God puts us through on purpose, kind of. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
saying that we, a lot of that the problems that people have is like self will, like free will, and but then we have to go through things, and lovingly, gently, God guides us through them as we're going through them. Otherwise, we wouldn't have survived. We wouldn't have survived it, and so lovingly and gently, He's taken us to the next thing, but we don't know what that next thing is, and we just have to trust and believe and really claim it. Like that's like I'm using that word now instead of just I'm gonna pray, trust, and believe. I'm gonna claim that shit too because it's
Mm-hmm.
mine for the taking. Hello, like I never knew that. It's mine for the taking, and it's yours for the taking. The love of God is ours for the taking right this very instant. And I'm not saying minute or even second. I mean, it's like an instant, like right now, the eternal now, now and forever. You know what I mean? And I didn't know that growing up, and I didn't know that even for many years, you know, as a young adult and an adult, and now I know, like, okay, you're guiding my path. You're making it so for me. You're already working on that. I don't have to
Yeah.
control that. I don't have to worry about it because worry is a big thing. I was a big worrier. I would get up in the morning and start and go to bed and just be like, by the time I went to bed at night, and I'm talking as a young child, I was exhausted. What does a
Yeah.
young child, what responsibilities does a young child have every day? A 7-year-old. I was just like disgustingly tired and exhausted every day because of all the stuff that went down everywhere, not just in the house, but outside the home, like all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was like, always like, what if this, what if that? Oh my God. And then I go to bed at night and be so tired and wonder why I was so tired all the time. And that's why. And dependence on crazy crap instead of what was real and true. And so that's the thing is like it's just knowing like everything we go through is like is a you know he does not put us through something we can't handle that we can he
Mm-hmm.
equips us for it before the actual task begins and just holds us until it's time you know and we don't know when that time is and that's the thing it's like we'll know when it comes you know and
Yeah.
and I guess pet peeves, if we're going to talk about that, is when I don't like when other people don't see that.
Mm.
I don't like when other people in my life that I'm close with don't see that, like, listen, it's not the other person. They can't, people cannot harm you unless you allow them to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you will, and if you dictate the way that you live your life by another person because of their, say irresponsibility or neglectful behavior or things in their personality, and you stay away, or you react, or we get really angry, or we get really, like, say, depressed or sad over this person and flip out, like they get the power. They have that power over you. And I'm learning like that doesn't have any time. I don't have any time for that. I don't have time for it, and there's no room in my mind and in my heart for that anymore. And I can't believe it, to be honest with you. I'll go through in certain situations and places that I go. I'm like, oh my God, why is it not bothering me? Like I almost want it to bother me like it used to. Like, wait, I should be pissed about that, but I'm not. Like I almost like, why am I not pissed? Why are they pissed? They're so pissed they can't even stand. They can't even be in the room. And I'm like, don't you see this person as a suffering, wounded soul? That's why I see him as
Mm-hmm.
a suffering, wounded person that's talking and acting this way.
Yep.
And I just smile at it. I'm like, there's no need for that, you know. And other people, and I guess like maybe I've grown. Maybe I've grown. Maybe that's it. And I've grown a lot. I have a lot more growing to do with certain situations, but maybe I've grown. Why don't I see it that way? Like they call them triggers, you know? I don't want to have those triggers, you know what I mean? A trigger isn't a gun, you know. I don't want triggers. They don't even belong in my life. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because you give me a trigger, eventually I'm going to want to pull it. You know,
Yep.
like I don't even like the word triggers. I just think that they're like opportunities for emotional, you know, to look within and see what's really going on, you know, and I don't know. So that's a pet peeve, like that other people don't see things the way. How come you can't see that? That's Please try and see it on a higher plane because it really has nothing to do with you, you know.
Oh,
And what other people say, what how other people feel, say, act, or behave, I have no control over. I only like want to live my life based on what I know I can control, and that's the way that I respond to things, the way that I
yep.
feel today. Like I choose, I want to be happy today. I want to be productive today. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be healthy today. I want to run to the gym and get that crazy workout that on Friday mornings that I have, or like I'm kind of tired all day and I'm doing hair and then I go home and I just crash out early. So that's
Yep.
fine. Like that's what I need to do for myself today. Body, mind, and spirit. All three are interactive. I can't have one without the other. Like I don't have just a body and a mind. At one time in my life, or many years in my life, I only had a mind. Imagine somebody like that. I had no body. I wasn't in my body, and I felt like I wasn't spiritual at all. So I depended on everything my brain told me. That's dangerous as hell.
Oh, yeah, it is.
What do you think?
When you were talking about, um, this just stuck with me, being 7 years old and being completely exhausted. I wasn't even going to share this, but I'm going through some stuff with Paige right now. And even though I just mentioned that, like I said, she feels safer in a smaller room, she feels safer to hang out in there. But that kid has still not slept in her own bed since we've lived here. Um, this is heartbreaking. I just got a list of counselors here because I'm going to get her a therapist because we were still talking to our therapist from Cranford. Um, Paige is having nightmares that her father found us and was stabbing her. And it's been happening quite often. And, like she'll come home from school some days, especially towards the end of the week, so exhausted that she has to take a nap after school. And it's not just that. Like she has a lot of things on her mind. It's it breaks my heart. But I thought just picking up. I should know better. I thought just picking up, moving, and taking her out of a situation would fix everything, and it's fixed a lot. Trust me, it has. But there's some deep things. Like I guess when she was living in the chaos, she was scared all the time. Like she dealt with it different. Now that she says to me, I feel safe now and it's not scary anymore. But now these things are coming out in her dreams. And, she chose to block her father a couple months ago. And, so they've had no contact. So that's been a plus for her. She said, you know, because when she was still trying to have contact, it would end in an argument or he would hang up on her, she would hang up on him. Very unhealthy, you know. it was a narcissistic relationship. And, I have still some other people in my family that don't really understand how deep this goes. As a matter of fact, you know, my mom said something to my son, and he was like, if anybody should be feeling like this, it should be me because I got it the worst, which he did get the most physical beatings.
Mm-hmm.
But Paige was a different kid, you know. She did get physical. She was in the hospital, but he scared her like no kid's been scared, and each kid deals with things differently. And just like thinking about how I tried to hold something together and run around and tried to keep the house a certain way, tried to make sure, especially on the weekend, not to set him off because then he would go out drinking and then, God forbid, how he would come home. It was insane. Absolutely insane. So, even though this is difficult, Paige has been clinging a little bit more with church. She likes the church now. She's been praying a lot more because she says, I know that Jesus can protect me. And it's just heartbreaking to watch, knowing that she's not in any danger, but just to see the damage that this has caused. And I see it. I see how it damaged all three of my kids. I still see it today. And it's just, it's going to take time to heal. But I feel very hopeful at the same time because now I could be a good example for her. And we do the right thing and we make the right choices. We set boundaries. We're doing all the right things. And I know eventually she's going to be okay. I just feel very sad that she has to go through it right now. So, keep her in your prayers.
I will. It doesn't go away. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like childhood trauma stays with you unless you're really willing to look at it. And look at me. I mean, don't even want to say, but, it took me like 30 years to really like start even looking at it. Like God, like I said, God will equip you with what you need to get through the stuff. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, the nightmares, that's a way. That's a way for it to come up. Like it's got to come up. Anything that gets buried, from a friend that I know in this group that I belong to, he said anything that gets buried and stuffed gets buried alive. It never goes away. It's going to come up some way, somehow, maybe in an unhealthy way, maybe in a healthy way, but it's going to come up no matter what. And I'm so grateful for that now. I was not before. I'm like, I don't want to think about this stuff. I can't. It's too scary. I don't want to think about it. And then I just found it. Like it's something, like I said, God put this group of people or this place in my path, and I went and I read some literature, and I was like, oh my God, I have never resonated with words on it in a page in my entire life, like the whole book. And I just said, I have to do this. I have to heal. It's time for healing. I'm not getting any younger. And this is when I really started doing the serious work of it. And she's young, and it's happening already. That is such a blessing. She's young, because like the reason why those nightmares are coming, those nightmares didn't come for me until I was way later on, and I felt safe, and I was removed from all of the chaos for years. When I felt safe is when all the stuff came up. I was like, why is that? That's not fair. I'm finally content, and I like my life, and I like things that I'm doing. Why does this have to come up? So I had to just work through it, and now I'm even better at the things in my life. I feel good. I feel confident. I have an inner voice. I have like an inner loving self, I should say, that God created in me since I was born that I didn't know I had, that I'm tapping into today. In the fellowship that we're in, that you create an inner loving parent. So there's your inner child self who's wounded as hell, and your inner loving parent, and then your higher self, your higher power, your God, or whoever it is that you consider God. And then you put the three of them together, especially God and your loving parent, and you talk to that wounded inner child, like she's just another person, another wounded child. Like,
Yeah.
what would you say? And it helps to me. I mean, for those of you who don't have children, but to have kids and see their pain, like, what would you say? What would I say to a 5-year-old little girl that went through what I went through? I didn't tell anybody until I was
Yeah.
like 40. You know what I mean? Like, I went through trauma at a 5-year-old in a school. I didn't tell a single soul. If my daughter felt like she couldn't tell me something that traumatically happened to her at school, oh my God, that's awful. So I
Yeah.
carried it with me my whole life, along with many others, because it kind of like exacerbated more trauma because I felt like a victim. So then I carried on the victim mentality, and therefore other traumas happened because of
Yep.
I had the sign on my forehead and on my back that said victim.
Yep.
So people knew how to treat me, and I suffered at the hands of so many people, so many places, and so many things. And then that didn't come up until later on when I was an adult and I felt safe.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. She feels safe. She feels safe now with her mom.
Yeah, she always says that.
She
So that's
felt
why it
she
threw me
feels
for a loop when
safe.
this started happening.
Yeah.
Oh,
But you
heartbreaking.
can't do it. Like, she has to have it. She's finding out now that inside her she has some healing to do. It's all in healing. It just means that she has lots of healing to do.
Yeah.
We all have so much healing to do, you know. And then
I'm just so blessed
yeah.
that I know what's going on and that she tells me so that I
Mhm.
can get her the help that she needs.
Yeah.
Because, she's a teenager now. I don't want her
Mhm.
stuffing that stuff and not knowing what to do with it and then turn
Yeah.
to alcohol and drugs and then we have a whole nother problem plus
Yeah.
that problem. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I guess, it's a blessing that I'm equipped to handle it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You re- we've been given this gift. Like, I know it's heart wrenching and heartbreaking to see your kids struggle, but we've been given this gift, not the gift that they're struggling, but the gift of being able to handle it,
Yep.
you know. And then that's really it. I mean, I know, I totally get it. And then it's another pet peeve of mine is when other parents just let their kids, like, just let them do whatever to
Oh,
get
yeah.
through it. You know what I mean? Like, so they'll turn to drugs and alcohol. They'll turn to whatever behavior. Like, there's so many different things there. That's why I love our church. Like, the pastor there created an apartment on top of the church for 18-year-olds aging out of foster care because they turn to drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, or prostitution and everything because they're not equipped to handle life yet. And maybe, just maybe, some of those parents had them as foster children for the money anyway to
Yep.
start with. Because if you're going to throw them out on their butt at
I
18
know.
and they don't have any mental wherewithal to do something for themselves, they're going to turn to there's apartments on top of there. I couldn't believe when that happened. There's 7 little apartments and a caseworker there every day from 9 to 5, teaching them how to get jobs and how to do their resumes and how to do this. And they're there for like 4 years. I'm like, that's amazing. They need that for now, not even foster
Without
care
a doubt.
children,
Yep.
just
Yep.
anybody that's a teenager that doesn't have any parents that what I like because you're always going to turn to unhealthy things if you have no emotional support.
Yep.
And then that's another thing. And then I guess one little tiny pet peeve that I have to share about because it came up when we were talking because I couldn't think of any men and cars.
Ugh.
Oh my God. Like it has to be pristine, clean, everything. Like not a speck on it. That pisses me off. Like sometimes you gotta live a little. Sometimes I'll eat in my car. Yeah, I'll make a little bit of a mess. Oh, let me go clean it. Then I'll clean it. But I'm a little bit more lax with that. I'm like, I have to, like, it's just a perfectionism thing. They're cars, men in
Or
cars.
their lawn.
Ugh, God. Like,
Mine couldn't go out without if there was one spot on his sneaker, because you know
ugh.
what? Everything was always about appearance,
Yeah, everything
and it
has to
was,
look good on the outside.
and what a
Mm-hmm.
joke that was going
Oh
on the
my
inside.
God. Yeah, like,
Laughable.
it's laughable. It is so laughable.
Yeah.
But I just had to put that one out there because I was
Yeah.
like, oh, geez, with like cars and like what they look, it has to be clean. If there was a little speck of dust on the seat, I was like, excuse me, you're slacking. Oh my God, something's wrong with this car.
That's funny.
Like, but anyway, I think that's about it today. Podcasters, we hope you had fun listening to us and that you were able to take something back with you in your life. Something good, something spiritual, something emotional, and something happy. And we want you to have a wonderful, wonderful week. And our next podcast most likely will be with our guest, Marianne Kay,
Yeah.
who's an author and a empowerment teacher and a all around good person and women's empowerment like developer. We will have more information on her as the time comes before the podcast starts. We'll put it out on Facebook when it's coming, and we look forward to talking with you then too. Have a wonderful day. Happy Friday, and we'll see you soon.
All right.